Hey everyone, welcome back and Happy New Year! This is my bonus holiday video as a thank you to everyone who supported me in my last video with Klondike's little holiday outfit. And also a thank you to everyone who has supported me in the last year, and hopefully I will see you in this following year as well. This is actually going to be a little quick tutorial on how to make a cute little dog bandana and make it stylish, aka a little applique that's kind of fun in my opinion. I also get over the fear of my at-home serger that I've had for the last year and have just been too afraid to use. I actually used the sergers in college when I was at FIT a lot. It's just that I was a lot more confident when there was someone who could maintain the machine and it wasn't me. Without further ado, let's head on over to the tutorial. Let's start with the bandana base. I'll be upcycling this plaid top, and I'm hoping I have enough fabric here since I'm sure most of you know that a bandana is a giant triangle. However, I'll be adding tie extensions to make it easier to tie the bandana out of the leftover parts of the top. I'm sure the main triangle-ish piece will use up the majority of the back here, so let's check a medium-sized bandana before we start. Oh buddy, this definitely does take up most of the back. I don't mind the seam being in there as I think it adds character, but I know that the long edge of this bandana is the exact neck circumference of the dog I'm making it for, so I am pushing it. Onto the pattern. We'll start with a giant triangle base. We'll do the long edge of the triangle at the desired neck circumference, which for the dog I'm making this for is 21 inches wide. For the height, I'll check what this bandana is at, which is about 10.5 inches. I'll do something proportionately similar here of about 12 inches high from the center, but instead of connecting the height point to the width point, I'm going to leave some height at the sides for the tie pieces. I think I'll do 2 inches high, so that leaves a good enough width for hands to be able to tie the bandana, but also make the bandana look a little more substantial. After the tie height is marked, I'll connect the two height points and you can see the triangle forming now. However, we want to go one step further here to make the bandana look even more stylish. You see how we have this very sharp point here at the top? That says cheap in most cases, and we don't want cheap. The easiest way to do this is making the bandana look more full in a very subtle way. You just have to curve out this line just a little bit. It's that simple. You only need to go about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch out at the center of the line and then gently curve it back to both height points. I would suggest using a hip curve for the softest looking curve. Just note that you don't want it to be too angled at the tie joining seam as it'll be a difficult shape to sew. Try your best to make both sides even as well. What's great is that all we need to do to finish the edges is turn them back and top stitch. So now you can add in the seam allowances and move on to the tie patterns. For the tie extensions, I'd recommend making them at least 5 inches wide to give some good room for a knot and ends. I ended up making mine 6 inches wide and gave them a little rounded edge to look nice in a knot. Another fantastic shot of my hair will show that the French curve makes for a great tool for that curve shape, but you can make them whatever shape you'd like. The shape that I made at my tie joining seam is a bit angled, but still workable. If you're newer to sewing, I'd recommend making the curve more gradual. Once you're satisfied with the tie's shape, you can go ahead and add in the seam allowances. Time to lay the pieces out and see if I can make this bandana dream come true. Okay, I said this before, but I am really cutting it close with how little fabric there is to use from this top compared to how much I need. It will also be interesting to see how well I can keep this shape with the peplum that is on bias at the bottom. I do think the two different directions of plaid will give the bandana a unique look, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. I'll try to cut out the tie extensions in the same direction with a vertical grain on the peplum. This fabric is a little slick, but hopefully it won't cause too many problems in trying to achieve the best look. Ta-da! With everything cut out, you can see that the fabric still shifted a little on the main bandana piece, but the tie extensions still turned out nice, so I'll take that win. I'll plan out my special applique in the center here once I have sewed the pieces together, so I can get a better idea of what scale I need. Now comes the time for the dreaded serging. When it comes to serging, do a few test pieces so you can get the feel of where to push the fabric and how much fabric gets cut off when you place it in certain areas. Definitely make sure that all of your threads are guided properly, and if you don't have a test watch and you have a new machine, it might come with one. As you can see, this fabric is already fraying a lot, which is why I want to use my serger. So I'll just go ahead and serge on my tie extensions and serge around the edges and fold them back and secure that with a top stitch. Alright, fingers crossed. Alright, so I actually did not do a 1/2-inch seam allowance and cutting off the excess. I just couldn't get it to feed. So now I'm going to go along the entire edge of the bandana just to be sure that this doesn't fray. And we'll just go ahead and ease these stitches as the tension is a bit tight. So as you can see, all the edges are done, and I'll just go ahead and then turn them back and do a normal turn back hem on my regular sewing machine. I kind of feel like a magician pulling out of the fabric like this, but the edges turned out really nice, so I'm going to move on to pointing the applique. So as you can see, here is the bandana body. Now you could just stop right here, but I want to make mine a little bit more special. So I decided that I was going to add on a paw print, and I'm going to be using this dress, which you will have seen in another project at this point so far. And it has a nice little feather yarn that I'm going to be using. So it has a little bit of texture, and I just have to decide on which size of paw print that I'm going to use. So this one is the slightly smaller one, which I like that proportion right there so far. And the bigger one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the smaller one. It's about 4.5 inches, so I'm just going to find the actual center point here, and then I'm going to mark this position with pins just so I have a general idea after I'm done cutting this out where I want it to go, because I'm going to be cutting these out and completely detaching them so it is just where you see the black print, which that'll be fun for doing placement. So marking the height and then also marking the width. If you want to, you can even mark a few other places, which I think I'm going to do, just to help with positioning a little bit better. I'm sure you could even use a needle and thread to do some tacks where you want it to go. I am just not feeling that, so I'm just going to be doing pins. So here's our little pin outline for the placement, and then we'll go ahead and cut these out, cut them out in the fabric. And then we're also going to cut out the fusible interfacing so that way we can interface them so they don't fray after I've cut them. Okay, now that I think about it, I think I'm really doing this because of my childhood love of Blue's Clues, but I think that is a-okay and could look really cute because now I have my Blue's Clue right here. I'm probably putting this in the most annoying way possible. I don't think any of my FIT professors would approve of this method, but here we are. A little cutie preview of what is to come, and now I get to cut those out in interfacing and iron them on, and then go ahead and sew them onto the bandana. Honestly, this is a great way to use up scraps for pretty much every part of your stash, because look at what little chunk of interfacing I have that can probably fit all of these little pieces. Alright, so now I have this all pinned down, so I can go ahead and do a zigzag stitch around the entire edge of each piece. One piece down, 4 more to go. Wow, I honestly think this is probably the best applique that I have done yet. I haven't done many, so that's really not saying much, but I think I've really improved. That's actually all flat under there. I have no clue what's happening here with my machine's tension. So you can see these threads were pulled through a little bit, but it doesn't show on the front. So I would say that this was a success. Now I just really hope that the pupper that is involved for this and their owner enjoys this as well. As you can see, both Maxine and her owner greatly enjoy the bandana. I think it makes a wonderful holiday gift and also a great way to style your dog if you want to add them to your holiday pictures. You can also use this for cats, but we all know cats aren't usually the ones who enjoy getting apparel. This will also be my last major video for a while on my channel. However, that doesn't mean I'm stopping content creation. I will just be trying out some short form content like YouTube Shorts or maybe some stuff for my Facebook and Instagram. It'll just give me a little bit more time to finish up bigger projects like my jacket recreation video, so I can finally finish that series, and some other projects that are in the works. So look forward to that. And if you are worried about this becoming a dog fashion only channel, put your worries aside. There will be a lot more human focused content in the new year. And if you want to hear about when I'll be making my bigger return, you can also follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. I'll be listing those in the description down below. And as always, take care, and I'll be seeing you here in the next video. Bye! Poodle hair is the new fashion. One of the new projects is Freaky Friday myself. Oh my god, I look like the Crypt Keeper.